Assalamu alaikum, dear students. We have start the chapter number first, that is cell structure and function. Yesterday we have talked about the cell wall and plasma membrane. Today topic for discussion is cytoplasm. What is cytoplasm? Cytoplasm is the storehouse of what? Material. It is regarded as a store. Just like we put things in our storehouse, either they are useful or they are not in use. So similarly, inside in the cell, a region can be seen between the nucleus on one side and the plasma membrane on the other side. This vast aqueous water containing region is called cytoplasm. So what is cytoplasm? Cytoplasm is made up of protoplasm. Protoplasm is the living content of the cell. Protoplasm is the living material from which a cell is made up of. So protoplasm, living content of the cell, is the combination of what? That is cytoplasm plus nucleus. Cytoplasm plus nucleus gave rise to protoplasm, and protoplasm is the living content or living material of the cell from which a cell is made up of. Now we will define the cytoplasm. What is the definition of cytoplasm? Cytoplasm is the aqueous or water containing substance containing a variety of cell organelles and other storage products and insoluble waste. So by definition, cytoplasm is the aqueous water containing region. Aqueous mean it is mainly consists of what? Water, that is H2O, and it contain a variety of cell organelles. Cell organelles, for example, it contain endoplasmic reticulum, nucleus, Golgi bodies, dictyosomes in the case of plants, centrioles, centrosomes, peroxisomes, glyoxysomes. All these cell organelles, they are present in the aqueous region, that is cytoplasm. And also other storage products. Other storage products mean that is glucose, carbohydrates, lipids. All these things, all these storage products, they are present in this part of the cell which is called cytoplasm. And also insoluble waste. Insoluble waste are inclusions. Insoluble waste, that is the waste product of what? Metabolism. As a result of metabolism, metabolites they are produced, and these metabolites, they are waste. Although they are waste, but they are stored in the cytoplasm. So that is why in the beginning I have told you that cytoplasm is the storehouse of material. These material may be useful or these material may be harmful. Harmful in the sense that after its formation synthesis, they will be excreted from the cells. But what will be their storehouse? Storehouse will be the cytoplasm. Then cytoplasm is, as I told you, cytoplasm is the aqueous or water containing region. That is, it is a vast region, aqueous region, in between the cell membrane and the nucleus. So this vast region, aqueous region, soluble region, in some ways insoluble region, this part is called cytoplasm. The most important part of the cytoplasm is the cytosol. Cytosol is the soluble portion of cytoplasm. What is cytosol? Cytosol, this region which is mainly aqueous, which is mainly consists of what? 90% of what? H2O. This soluble portion is called cytosol. Cytosol is the soluble portion of the cytoplasm, or it also form ground substance. It also form a ground substance. Now what is ground substance? Ground substance is an extracellular matrix, amorphous, having no shape, and gel-like substance, and this ground substance is present in between the cell organelles. So that is why cytosol also act as ground substance which is present in between the cytoplasmic organelles, that is mitochondria, plasmid, ribosomes, peroxisomes, glycosome. All these organelles, they are present, are these organelles, they are surrounded by this ground substance, and this ground substance is actually cytosol. Now what is chemically cytosol is made up of? Cytosol is mainly consists of what? Water, and beside water it also contains smaller molecules, ions, larger molecules, insoluble waste, storage products. So all these material, they are present in the cytosol region. So cytosol region is the most important part of the cytoplasm. Now cytosol is actually a solution like. It behave like, or its consistency is a solution like. And solution, they are of two types which is present in the cytosol. One is called the true solution, the other is called the colloidal solution. Now what is true solution? True solution is a homogeneous mixture of two or more substances. It is a homogeneous mixture of two or more than two substances, which is mainly consist of smaller molecules. Small molecules and ions give rise to true solution. Also the particle size is 10 raised to minus 9, or it is nanometer in size. The solution, true solution, the particle which are present in the formation of true solution is in the range of what? Nanometer, that is, it is 10 nanometer, 10 raised to minus 9 nanometer in size. So that is why they can't be seen with the naked eye. They can't be produced as a result of what? Filtration. They can't be seen with the help of what? Naked eye. They cannot be filterable. So these are the properties of what? True solution. And true solution, as I told you, it is the combination of small molecules plus ion. For example, glucose molecules, because they are completely dissolved in the soluble portion of the cytoplasm to form the true solution. And also amino acids, different kinds of salts. So these material form the true solution. The other type of solution is called the colloidal solution, which is also the part of what? Cytosol. What is colloidal solution? Colloidal solution, just like true solution, is also the combination of what? It is also the combination of two or more than two substances by forming a homogeneous mixture. And if we compare to the true solution, so they are consist of larger molecules and storage products plus inclusions, waste materials. So they form colloidal solution. And particle size of colloidal solution is 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer. So by comparison, the molecules of what? The substances of colloidal solution, they are greater in size as compared to the true solution. And also they can't be seen with the naked eye because they are in nanometer in size. So they can't be seen with the naked eye. They can't be produced by the process of what? Filtration. So this is all about the colloidal solution. Then colloidal solution, again they are divided into two subtypes. One is called sol, the other is gel. Or the consistency of colloidal solution may be sol or solution like. Solution like mean non-viscous, that is, it is thin in consistency. And the other subtype of colloidal solution is gel like. Gel like mean it is more viscous. Viscous mean it will be more thick. So that is why the peripheral portion of the cytoplasm, it will be gel-like, or it have gel-like consistency. So gel-like consistency is because of what? Colloidal solution. Gel-like solution is a type of what? Colloidal solution. Peripheral portion of the cytoplasm is more gel-like, while the middle or the central portion of the cytoplasm will be more, that is, sol-like, that is, it will be non-viscous or thin. So this is all about the type of solution present in the cytosol region of the cytoplasm, that is true solution and colloidal solution. Besides the true solution and colloidal solution, another solution is also present. This is just for your information, that is suspension. Now what is suspension? Suspension is a heterogeneous mixture of two or more than two substances. Particle size will be more than 1000 nanometer. If you compare it with the true solution, so here the particle size is, that is 1 nanometer. In colloidal solution, the particle size will be 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer. But in the case of suspension, the particle size will be greater than or more than 1000 nanometer. So that is why it can be seen with the naked eye, or they can be produced as a result of what? Filtration on filter paper in the form of residue. For example, mud dissolved in water. Is the typical example of what? Suspension. Now coming to the function of what? That is the cytoplasm, that is cytosol. So the main portion of the cytoplasm is the cytosol. So cytosol, as I told you, it provides ground substance for cellular organelles. Ground substance, what is ground substance? Ground substance is an extracellular matrix which is amorphous, that is shapeless, and gel-like substance are having gel-like consistency, it is viscous. And in this ground substance, all these cell organelles, they are present. Some are immovable, some are movable. Movable mean, for example, mitochondria is a movable organelles because there is no specific location of the mitochondria. It can change its position. Because of what? That is cyclosis. Streaming mass movement or streaming movement of cytoplasm, or active mass movement of cytoplasm is called cyclosis, which can be seen in the case of what? Different plant cell under the microscope. So because of cyclosis phenomena, streaming movement of cytoplasm or active mass movement of cytoplasm, mitochondria can change its position. That is why we can say that mitochondria is a movable or floating organelle because of cyclosis phenomena or streaming movement of cytoplasm. Also, cytosol or cytoplasm provide site for different chemical pathway. Cytosol is the process of what? Different chemical pathway. Which pathway occur in the cytoplasm? That is glycolysis. Glycolysis is the first step of what? Glycolysis is the first step of aerobic respiration. Where initial breakdown of what? Sugar or glucose take place, and the result will be the product of what? That is, the product will be the pyruvate or pyruvic acid. That is C2H4O3. 2-pyruvic acid will be the product of what? Glycolysis. So from this you can imagine the importance of what? Cytosol, because Cytosol is the site of what? The first step of what? Aerobic respiration, because the aerobic respiration start here in the cytoplasm, and the product will be the 2-pyruvic acid or pyruvate. So from this you can imagine the importance of what? Cytoplasm. We will conclude the cytoplasm. That is, what is cytoplasm? Cytoplasm is the aqueous water containing substance containing a variety of cell organelles, storage products and inclusion. And cytoplasm is originated or formed or synthesized by protoplasm. What is protoplasm? Protoplasm is the living content, living material from which a cell is made up of, and it is the combination of what? Cytoplasm plus nucleus. This is the cytoplasm, which can be seen with the help of this diagram. And cytoplasm is consist of what? An important region, that is cytosol, which is 90% water. It is again consist of what? That is, it is solution like. Solution may be true solution or colloidal solution. And we have discussed the function of what? Cytoplasm. That is, this is because of cytosol, etc. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. We have started this cytoplasmic organelles, and today we will discuss about the first cytoplasmic organelles which are present in the cytoplasm. So the first cytoplasmic organelles which is present in the cytoplasm of the eukaryotic cell is endoplasmic reticulum. Endoplasmic reticulum. The word endoplasmic reticulum is derived from or originated from a Greek word which mean endo mean inside or within, plasmic means cytoplasm. So it means inside or within the cytoplasm. Reticulum mean networks. So by combining these words, a network of what? A network within or inside in the cytoplasm of eukaryotic cell, they are called endoplasmic reticulum. Endoplasmic reticulum. Now, who discovered this important cell organelles inside in the eukaryotic cell? It was Keith R. Porter in 1945 who discovered these important cell organelles in eukaryotic cell for the first time. Now, how can we define the endoplasmic reticulum? Remember, endoplasmic reticulum, they are only present in the eukaryotic cell. They are present in eukaryotic cell and absent from prokaryotic cell, that is bacterial cell and cyanobacteria or blue-green algae. Now, how can we define the endoplasmic reticulum? Endoplasmic reticulum may be defined that when a eukaryotic cell is observed under the electron microscope, so a network of channels can be seen throughout the cytoplasm of the eukaryotic cell, extend on one side from the plasma membrane and the other side towards the nuclear membrane. So this whole network of channels in the eukaryotic cell observed under the electron microscope, this whole channels is called endoplasmic reticulum, because these channels, they are extended throughout the cytoplasm of the eukaryotic cell. On one side they are attached with the nuclear envelope or nuclear membrane of the nucleus, as they are present in eukaryotic cell. On the other side they are extended towards the cell membrane or plasma membrane. So this whole network of channels, they are called endoplasmic reticulum. Endoplasmic reticulum form the transport system of the cell, or it acts as circulatory system of the cell or transportation system of the eukaryotic cell. Because of these channels, material can be transported from the nucleus via endoplasmic reticulum towards the whole cell, towards the other cell organelles, and the material can be utilized by the cell and cell organelles for their metabolic activities. So the material, they are transported with the help of what? These channels, these network which extend throughout the cytoplasm of what? Eukaryotic cell. This whole system of channels constitute endoplasmic reticulum. As I told you, these channels, they constitute endoplasmic reticulum. Third point is the channels, that is endoplasmic reticulum, are separated from the material present in the cytoplasm, because definitely material, they are present in the cytoplasm of eukaryotic cell. For example, as I told you, in the cytoplasm, that is soluble portion of the cytoplasm, that is cytosol. Cytosol is solution like colloidal solution, gel like. So all these material, they are the part of cytoplasm. So the material present in the endoplasmic reticulum are channels, and the material present in the cytoplasm, they can be separated by special type of what? Spherical or tubular membrane which surround these channels of endoplasmic reticulum. These tubular or spherical membrane is called cisternae, which separate the material of what? Endoplasmic reticulum from the material present in the cytoplasm. So these channels are tubular membrane, they are called cisternae. Cisternae singular is called cisterna. Cisterna, they are cisternae, they are flattened vesicles. Flattened vesicles. Flattened mean flat, which are not round. And vesicles mean that is membrane bonded sacs containing some material. So these flattened vesicles, they are called cisternae, which separate the material present inside in the endoplasmic reticulum from the material present in the cytoplasm. So in this way, the material, they are transported via or through these endoplasmic reticulum from the nucleus towards the plasma membrane, and from the plasma membrane towards the nucleus with the help of what? These channels. So these channels which extend throughout the cytoplasm of the eukaryotic cell, surrounded by tubular membrane or cisternae, this whole system or this whole network of channels constitute endoplasmic reticulum. Now there are two morphological forms of the endoplasmic reticulum. Based upon their morphology, based upon their shape or appearance, morphology, there are two morphological forms of the endoplasmic reticulum. One is rough endoplasmic reticulum, abbreviated as RER. The other is smooth endoplasmic reticulum, abbreviated as SER. So these are the two main morphological form of the endoplasmic reticulum. Rough endoplasmic reticulum is mean rough. Why it is rough in appearance? Because it is granulated, and these granules, they are in the form of what? Ribosomes. Or in other words, rough endoplasmic reticulum, they are studded. They are covered with what? Certain granules, and these granules, they are actually what? Ribosomes. So ribosomes, they are attached with the outer surface of the endoplasmic reticulum, and because of these ribosomes, which are granules like structure, they are studded upon the external surface of the endoplasmic reticulum and make it rough. So that is why it got its name, that is rough endoplasmic reticulum. And because of the attachment of ribosomes, rough endoplasmic reticulum is directly involved in the protein synthesis. The main function of the rough endoplasmic reticulum is the protein synthesis. Protein synthesis, as ribosome, they are regarded as factory of protein synthesis. So that is why rough endoplasmic reticulum is mainly involved in the synthesis of protein, not by its own virtue, but because of what? The attachment of what? Ribosomes. So because of ribosome, rough endoplasmic reticulum is directly involved in the protein synthesis. Rough endoplasmic reticulum, they are abundantly present in liver and gonad cells. They are abundantly present in liver and gonad cells. Liver cell, that is hepatocytes. Gonad cell, that is sex cells, that is testes and ovaries. They are rich in rough endoplasmic reticulum because they are involved in protein synthesis. Different kinds of protein they are synthesized inside in the liver and inside in the gonad cells because of what? Rough endoplasmic reticulum. So these organelles are these organs, they are rich in rough endoplasmic reticulum, that is liver and gonad cells. The other morphological form of the endoplasmic reticulum is called SER. SER means smooth endoplasmic reticulum. If we compare it with the rough endoplasmic reticulum, so smooth endoplasmic reticulum is non-granulated. Here rough endoplasmic reticulum is granulated because of the granules in the form of what? Ribosome. Here they are not granulated. They are devoid of what? Ribosome. No ribosomes they are attached with the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. In this diagram you can see that there are no attachment of the granules in the form of ribosome. Ribosome, they are not studded with the external surface of the smooth endoplasmic reticulum and make it smooth in appearance. So that is why it is smooth in appearance. Smooth endoplasmic reticulum, they are abundant or rich in hepatocyte. Hepatocyte mean liver cells, where it perform different function, and the function will be discussed at the end of this lecture. At the end of this lecture. So these are the two morphological form of the endoplasmic reticulum, that is rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum. If we discuss the function of what? Endoplasmic reticulum, so the overall function of endoplasmic reticulum, they are involved in the transport of material or circulation of material. Material can be transported from the nucleus via endoplasmic reticulum, that is rough endoplasmic reticulum, then smooth endoplasmic reticulum, then Golgi complex, and then towards the whole organelles of the cell present in the cytoplasm. So that is why endoplasmic reticulum constitute the transport system of the cell, or it make this transport system of the cell. Also they are involved in a lipid metabolism or synthesis of what? Lipids. They are involved in the transmission of what? Impulses or muscular or nervous activities. Also endoplasmic reticulum, they are involved in the, it give mechanical strength or it maintain the shape of the cell. The most important function, one of the most important function of the endoplasmic reticulum, that they are involved in the detoxification of harmful drugs or toxic or poisonous material. But if we see, majority of function we have discussed, they are related with the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, because rough endoplasmic reticulum is mainly involved in the protein synthesis, while smooth endoplasmic reticulum is involved in the transportation of material, lipid metabolism. How lipid metabolism occurs? As you know, lipid is the combination of what? Lipids, they are the combination of what? Fatty acid plus glycerol. So fatty acid and glycerol give rise to lipids. Lipids metabolism. In the last of this topic, we will discuss the functions of endoplasmic reticulum. So as I told you, the main function of, as there are two morphological forms of the endoplasmic reticulum. One is the rough endoplasmic reticulum, the other is the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Rough endoplasmic reticulum, as I told you, it is mainly involved in the protein synthesis because upward the attachment upward ribosomes over it. So that is why they are mainly involved in the protein synthesis, and also they are involved in the transport of material or circulation of material. This is the main function of rough endoplasmic reticulum. But if we see the function of smooth endoplasmic reticulum, so this is the smooth endoplasmic reticulum which perform a variety of vital function inside in the eukaryotic cell. The main function of smooth endoplasmic reticulum is lipid metabolism or synthesis of lipids. As you know, lipids, which are organic molecules, complex molecules, polymers, they are the combination of two monomers, fatty acid and glycerol. So fatty acid and glycerol, they react, they are combined, they are bonded with each other inside in the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So we can say that smooth endoplasmic reticulum, they are involved in the lipid metabolism or synthesis of lipids. This is the most important function of smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Another important function of the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, that they are involved in the transmission of impulses for muscular and nervous activities. The impulses are messages which are transferred from brain to other parts of the cell, especially the muscles and the glands. They are transported inside in the cell with the help of smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So smooth endoplasmic reticulum, they are responsible for the transmission of impulses or messages for muscular and nervous activities. Third important function of the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, that they are involved in the detoxification of harmful drugs or toxic or poisonous substances, because smooth endoplasmic reticulum, they are rich in liver cell, that is hepatocyte. So here the function of smooth endoplasmic reticulum to remove the toxicity present in the drugs, present in the food that we eat. So they are detoxify. So detoxification process of the drugs, food material occur inside in the liver cell, that is hepatocyte, because of the presence of smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So that is why we are safe from the side effect of certain drugs and food because of smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Another important function of the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, that they are involved in the formation of different kinds of hormones. For example, in the adrenal cortex or in the adrenal glands of the kidney, they secrete a class of hormones, that is corticosteroid. Well known example is cortisol. Corticosteroid, they are the class of hormones which reduce inflammation, that is the immune response, itching, pain, etc. So corticosteroids hormone, well known example is cortisol. Cortisol is a hormone which reduce stress. That is why, or they are produced in stress situation. So that is why cortisol, a type of an example of corticosteroid hormone, which is also called stress hormone. So it reduces the stress, or they are produced in stress condition. This cortisol is also responsible for immune response. As I told you, inflammation is a process of immune response. Also cortisol is responsible for different kinds of metabolic activity, or they are involved in the metabolism. So the main function of smooth endoplasmic reticulum is the synthesis of certain types of hormones. Also they are involved in the formation of synthesis of 6 hormones, that is testosterone, androgens, progesterone, etc. These 6 hormones, they are also secreted by smooth endoplasmic reticulum. That is why smooth endoplasmic reticulum, they are abundantly present in the gonad and gonad cells. So that is why they are responsible for the production of what? Sex hormone. So this is all about the endoplasmic reticulum, its different types, its function, its role in the eukaryotic cell. Thank you. Dear students, another topic for discussion of cytoplasmic organelles, that is ribosomes. Ribosomes, they are the cytoplasmic organelles which are present in both type of cell, that is prokaryotic cell as well as eukaryotic cell. They are the cell organelles which are present both in prokaryotic cell as well as in the eukaryotic cell. Ribosome, the word ribosome is derived from a Greek word. It is Greek in origin. Ribo mean ribonucleic acid, that is RNA, that is ribosomal RNA, and somes or soma mean bodies. So by combining the word, that is ribosomes, they are ribonucleic acid bodies. Ribonucleic acid bodies are those bodies which are consist of ribonucleic acid, that is ribosomal RNA plus protein. They are called another word used for ribosome is ribonucleoprotein bodies or particle, but the actual word is ribosome, that is ribo mean ribonucleic acid and soma mean bodies, those bodies which are consist of ribonucleic acid. Ribonucleic acid, that is rRNA or ribonucleic acid, is present in the formation of what? Ribosomes. Ribosomes, as I told you, they are present in both type of cell, prokaryotic cell as well as in the eukaryotic cells. If we define the ribosome, so what are ribosomes? Ribosomes, they are tiny, non-membranous, dense particles or organelles about 20 nanometer in size, consist of ribonucleic acid, that is RNA or RNA plus proteins, and can be seen in eukaryotic cell under the electron microscope. So such bodies which are tiny, non-membranous, dense particle consist of rRNA plus protein and can be seen under the electron microscope both in prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. Such bodies, they are called ribosomes. Now, what are the other characteristics of what ribosome? If we see its diameter or size, so they are 20 nanometer in diameter. It means that they are the smallest cell organelles of the cell, of the living cell. They are the smallest organelles of the living cell, that is prokaryotic cell as well as eukaryotic cell. If we see its chemical composition, so chemical composition suggests that it is consist of RNA, as there are three types of RNA. Which RNA is present? That is rRNA. R mean ribosomal RNA. And other chemical component is protein. So that is why the ribosomes, they are also called ribonucleoprotein bodies or particles. Also they are called ribosomes. But if we consider protein, so that is, then it will be called ribonucleoprotein bodies or particles. Now there are two forms of ribosomes based upon their attachment or detachment. So there are two forms of ribosomes based upon their occurrence, where they are present. Either they are present in attached form or either they are present in the free form. So in free form, they are present in the cytoplasm. They are freely present in the cytoplasm. One of the free form of the cytoplasm present in the young red blood cells are RBCs, young RBCs, where they are involved in the synthesis of a protein which is commonly called hemoglobin, HB. HB is the symbol of hemoglobin, that is the respiratory pigment of the red blood cells by which it can carry gases and by which the color of the blood is red in color or reddish in color. This is because of hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a protein synthesized by young red blood cells because of the presence of what? Ribosomes in them. The other form of the ribosome is attached form of the ribosomes. In previous topic we have talked about the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Rough endoplasmic reticulum is rough or coarse or granulated in appearance because of the attachment of ribosomes. So another form of the ribosome is attached with the rough endoplasmic reticulum. So this is the free form of the ribosomes, freely present in the cytoplasm, and this is the attached form of the ribosome attached with the endoplasmic reticulum and make it rough, and that is why rough endoplasmic reticulum is mainly involved in the protein synthesis. Protein synthesis. Now, where these ribosomes they are synthesized or originated or where its formation occurs. So they are synthesized inside in the nucleus, and in the nucleus, that is nucleolus. So nucleolus is regarded as the nucleolus of the nucleus is regarded as the factory of what? Factory of protein synthesis. Just like ribosome, they are called factory of what? Protein synthesis. Similarly, nucleolus of the nucleus is called factory of ribosome synthesis. Ribosome synthesis. Ribosome synthesis. So ribosome they are synthesized, originated inside in the nucleolus of the nucleus. So that is why nucleolus is regarded as the factory of what? Ribosomes synthesis. Now, what is the structure of ribosome? Ribosomes, as I told you, they are consist of ribonucleic acid, that is the ribosomal RNA plus protein. But what is the structure? If you see the structure, so each ribosome body or structure is made up of two subunits. That is, one is called the smaller subunit SSU, the other is the larger subunit, that is LSU. Smaller subunit are the, we can say that the body of ribosome is consist of two subunits, that is smaller subunit and larger subunit. The conformational changes occurs, and also certain ions they are required for the attachment of these subunits. So in these subunits, that is smaller subunit and larger subunits, they bonded with each other, they combined with each other, so it form the body of ribosome. So each ribosome is the combination of smaller subunit and larger subunit. Both these units they are attached with the help of magnesium ion. Magnesium ion. So magnesium ion is responsible for the attachment of these subunit, that is smaller subunit and larger subunit. So this is the final structure or final shape of the ribosomes. The attachment may be strong or the attachment may be weak because it depends upon the relative concentration of the magnesium ion. If magnesium ion is more in concentration, so the attachment will be stronger, and if magnesium ion is less in concentration, so the attachment will be weak. Why only the magnesium ion? Why not the other ion? Because magnesium ion is the most abundant ion. It have smaller radius, it have more charge. So that is why magnesium is responsible for the attachment of two subunits of the ribosomes for the formation of ribosomal body. So sedimentation is a non-metric unit which revealed that how faster the movements of molecule occur in centrifugation process. Sedimentation, a non-metric unit which revealed that how faster a molecule will move during the process of centrifugation. So sedimentation revealed two types of ribosome, that is, one is the 70S ribosomes, the other is the 80S ribosome. 70S ribosome is mainly present in the prokaryotic cell. 80S ribosome, that is smaller ribosome and larger ribosome. So 80S is the larger one, 70S is the smaller one. 70S is the characteristic size of prokaryotic ribosome, that is bacteria and cyanobacteria, and 80S ribosome is the size of ribosome present in the eukaryotic cell. 70S is further the combination of two subunits, as I told you here that each ribosome consists of two subunits, that is smaller subunit and largest subunit. If we consider 70S, so 70S is the combination of 30 smaller subunits and 50 larger subunits. If we consider 80S ribosome, so 80 ribosome is the combination of 40S smaller subunit and 60S larger subunit. So how 80 is, because 60 and 40 give rise to 100 and 50 and 30 gave rise to 80. So how the final size of ribosome become 70S and 80S? Because conformational changes here occurs. Here conformational changes occur. For example, if we consider this marker and its cape, consider this is the smaller subunit, this is the larger subunit. Apparently, if we consider the 70S, so this is the 50S and this is the 30S. But if I put the cape of the marker over the marker, so these 10 units overlap in each other, that is conformational changes occurs. So the apparent size, the final size will be 70S in size, but actually it is the combination of 50 and 30S. It is 80S in size, but 10 points or 10 units they overlap in each other due to conformational changes. Similar is the case with the 80S. 80S is the combination of 60S larger subunits and 40S smaller subunit. Actual size is 100 size, but due to the overlapping of 20 subunits because of conformational changes, the final size or the apparent size will be 80S in size. So this is the basic theme of the size of 70S ribosome and the 80S ribosome. S mean here, what is the meaning of S? S means Swedberg unit, which is proposed by Theodor Swedberg. Who proposed, the scientists who proposed these units, and these units they are used in sedimentation or centrifugation process. S refers to the sedimentation coefficient. S, that is Swedberg unit, refers to the sedimentation coefficient in Swedberg unit during centrifugation process, that how the sediments they are separated at which speed and what will be the size of that particle. So This is all about the Swedberg unit. According to the sedimentation or centrifugation process, 70s which are smaller in size, they will more slower in centrifuge. They will move more slower in centrifuge during centrifugation process. While 80s, it is larger in size, it will move more faster in centrifuge or centrifugation process. It is revealed from the sedimentation process. So this is all about the concept of what? Sedimentation and Swedberg unit. Sedimentation is a non-metric unit which revealed that how faster a molecule can separate in a centrifuge during centrifugation process, while S means Swedberg unit. These are the units used in sedimentation process, or these unit refers to sedimentation coefficient in Swedberg unit during centrifugation process. Now another point is polysomes or polyribosomes. When many ribosomal units they attach with the messenger RNA strand during protein synthesis, so this combination or this aggregation of the ribosomal units for the protein synthesis during the process of protein synthesis, this is called polysomes. Polysomes are polyribosome. Poly mean many, somes mean bodies. That is, when many ribosomal units, that is smaller and larger subunits, they are attached with the messenger RNA strand during protein synthesis. So this structure, this combination of the many ribosome attached with the messenger RNA strand to read out the instruction sent by DNA from the nucleus towards the cytoplasm for the ribosome to synthesize specific type of protein. So these are polypeptide chains. So reading the instruction of DNA sent it via messenger RNA. So after reading the instruction of DNA from the messenger RNA strand, specific protein they are synthesized inside in the ribosome, because ribosome they are the factory of protein synthesis. So specific polypeptide chain they are synthesized when many ribosomes they are attached with the messenger RNA strand. So polypeptide chain synthesis occurs, and finally these polypeptide chain they are converted or they are used in the formation of different kinds of protein in protein synthesis, because protein synthesis is a vital process. It is a long process, important process which occur inside in the living cell, both in the prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. Now the question arises that why the ribosome of the prokaryotic cell they are smaller in size, and the ribosomes of the eukaryotic cell they are larger in size. So the answer is that ribosome of the eukaryotic cell they are larger in size due to their more protein requirement. Eukaryotic cells they required more protein for its metabolic activity. So that is why the size of ribosome in the eukaryotic cell they are larger in size as compared to the bacterial cell or prokaryotic cell which are 70s in size. Now what's the function of ribosomes? So overall function of ribosome is protein synthesis. So that is why ribosome they are called factory of protein synthesis. In the last, that is tidbit is given in your book. According to this tidbit, that is ribosomes, as I told you, ribosome they are the smallest cell organelles, only 20 nanometer in size, and when we collect different cell component fractions in centrifugation process, so ribosome they will be the last particles to be separated or to be collected because of its smaller size, and it required 1 lakh RPM, that is speed, for about 1 to 2 hours. So this is an interesting feature of ribosome, that ribosome, because of its smaller size, they will be collected, they will be separated in the last upward centrifugation process. Another important aspect of the ribosome that is present in the mitochondria and chloroplast of the eukaryotic cell, that is, it is 70s in size. Although they are present in the eukaryotic cell and the size of eukaryotic cell ribosome, they are 80s in size, but the mitochondria and chloroplast, the size of ribosome is 70s in size. As you know, mitochondria and chloroplast, they are two independent autonomous self-replicating bodies because of their own DNA, because of their own RNA, and because of their own ribosomes. So the ribosomes present in the mitochondria and chloroplast, the size is 70s. So what it means? That it reveals its prokaryotic origin. It's reveal the prokaryotic origin. The 70s ribosomes of the mitochondria and chloroplast inside in the eukaryotic cell, it reveals its prokaryotic origin according to the endosymbiotic theory. According to the endosymbiotic theory. Endosymbiotic theory is a theory which states about the possible origin of the eukaryotic cell from prokaryotic cell. So it is revealed from the size of what? Ribosome in these cell organelles which are present in eukaryotic cell. Mitochondria and chloroplast, they are the cell organelles having 70s of ribosome, although they are present in eukaryotic cell where the ribosome is 80s in size. So it reveals its prokaryotic origin according to the endosymbiotic theory or endosymbobiogenesis. Endosymbobiogenesis, a theory which states about the origin of eukaryotic organism from prokaryotic organism or prokaryotic cell. So this is all about the today topic, that is ribosomes. Thank you.